sports has been a big thing for me. And so I played college basketball, my wife did too. And so my leadership mentors, if you will, were basketball coaches. So discipline, teamwork, camaraderie, those sort of things. I didn't realize it as we were growing our company, but I lead like a coach would lead in a lot of ways. And so for me, it's about, number one, knowing the job. My best coaches were ones that were great players and they understood how to play. And so I respected that. So I think my employees automatically have a little bit of respect because they know that I've been there, I've made coffee, I've cleaned the restroom, I've helped the folks and built it from open to close and done all those things. So the number one core principle for me is just I need to know the job for those employees to respect me and to follow me.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we look at leadership styles and exactly what does it take to drive growth in companies. Now, we focus growth-oriented companies on the podcast. We really focus on the Inc. 5000. And so I picked up a few things around leadership styles, but today we're going to talk with a special guest, the founder of Ziggi's Coffee. They've been on the Inc. list twice. They're going to continue to grow. And it really was an amazing conversation. We were talking with Brandon Knudsen, and Brandon and I really got into where he got an understanding of leadership and what he wanted to create with his organization that has allowed him to grow so much. Now, we also talked about some of the challenges he overcame. One of them is about tough love inside of leadership. Some of the things that he learned in his early days wouldn't be acceptable today. But the key behind this is if you can't tune in to what others want from you, then you really can't, lead effectively and really get the most out of people. Here's what I mean by that. When you think about each individual person, being able to read that person, being able to sense what style is necessary for that moment. Some people are motivated by praise. Some people are motivated by money. Some people are motivated by a sense of connection and community. And you've got to be able to tune into this. So today we talk about leadership styles, but also how that really applies to driving the growth of the company. Now, when you think about your own leadership and you think about your team, hopefully they have the skills to help you continue growing. But in case there is a gap between the leadership at the top level of the company and the leadership in the middle management or frontline even, we offer a solution called Leadership Onramp. Now, you may not be familiar with what this program is, but think about it this way. It's the foundational skills inside of 8 weeks that allow your people to be better leaders. Simple as that. Allow them to coach others up, allow them to have difficult conversations, delegate more effectively, and really be more accountable to their own time. And we talk about the real core behind this and how we are able to get results inside of a video. All you have to do is go to genehammett.com/emerging leaders. And if you have emerging leaders that you'd like to support, you can just go there in about 4 minutes and see why we're able to get the results we get and really what is going on inside this leadership gap that is so prevalent inside of all companies, not just fast growth ones or big ones. Leadership gap is everywhere. Just go to genehammett.com/emerging leaders. Get a free video absolutely for you. Now, when you think about your own journey to the next level, I want you to make sure that you are keep tuning in to Grow Think Tank because we're here to serve you to be the best leader you can be. Now, here's the interview with Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am fantastic. We're gonna have a great interview. Sorry, sometimes you get calls. We're gonna have a great interview and it's gonna be incredible to talk to you about leadership and about your company. So let's dive in. Tell me about Ziggi's Coffee.
Ziggi's Coffee, my wife and I founded the company in 2004. We had one shop on Main Street in Longmont. Only employees, worked open to close every day. Been fortunate enough over the last 18, almost 19 years to grow the brand to 51 locations right now, a lot of that through franchising, and looking to add another 40 stores, we hope, by the end of this year. So big growth and lots of fun things happening.
Well, I have a special spot for coffee in my background, my history. I didn't even tell you this, Brandon, but my uncle worked in the early days with Bun-O-Matic coffees. Are you familiar with Bun?
Oh yeah, of course.
He would tell me the stories of how in the 70s, nobody was buying coffee when they stopped to get gas. I don't know if you know this part, but he worked with like 7-Eleven or something. And it was an interesting thing. They're like, well, we'll let you have a market. He goes, just give me 1 month and I'll prove to you that this works. And they gave him Miami. And 1 month, it was like August, hottest month that you can imagine. But there were a lot of Cubans there, and it was lights out on the results of how profitable that was. So that's a little bit of my family history that I'm able to bring into this. Why did you pick coffee? I'm just kind of curious. Why was that the direction you chose?
Yeah, I think coffee more picked us. We were in college. I always tell people I majored in beer and basketball. Heavy emphasis on beer. I got worse at basketball over the years. My wife got a job working at a drive-thru coffee shop, and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do when we grew up, when we dropped out of college, because clearly, that wasn't working out for either one of us. And she just loved it. She found that she was in a drive-thru coffee shop, and I learned what white mocha was and crushed one of those every day. And I think we just, a moment, like, let's do this. Seems like a lot of fun.
You said white mocha, so I wouldn't have pegged you as a little frou-frou coffee. Do you drink it black, or do you drink it with all the extras?
I'm 44 now. It's been a minute, so I'm a total black coffee guy now. I've graduated, growing up, just a little bourbon and black coffee. Those are my favorites.
You're more man than me, because I still got to put cream and a little bit of sugar in mine to be able to make it. But I do love the experience of coffee, and I'm not surprised that you guys have created something that has had this kind of growth. Let's dive into the core of this. You could not be where you are today with 51 locations and really creating the team you have without the right leadership. What are your core principles of leadership that allow you guys to grow so fast?
Yeah, I think it's the history of sports has been a big thing for me. And so I played college basketball. My wife did too. And so my leadership mentors, if you will, were basketball coaches. So discipline, teamwork, camaraderie, those sort of things. I didn't realize it as we were growing our company, but I lead like a coach would lead in a lot of ways. And so for me, it's about, number one, knowing the job. My best coaches were ones that were great players and they understood how to play. And so I respected that. So I think my employees automatically have a little bit of respect because they know that I've been there, I've made coffee, I've cleaned the restroom, I've helped the folks and built it from open to close and done all those things. So the number one core principle for me is just I need to know the job for those employees to respect me and to follow me.
I have a lot of respect for that too. One of the phrases that comes up in my coaching quite a bit is lead by example. And if you are willing to clean the bathroom per se, there should be no excuses that everyone should be able to do that if needed.
Yeah, amen. I mean, whenever we have a new manager come in, the first thing I tell them is you're not going to be there yet, but your goal as a manager is to be the best barista, the fastest barista, the best service on time, earlier than everybody else. Like, be willing to clean the floor drains, pick up shifts. If you're willing to do those things, your team will follow you.
I don't have a lot of franchise leaders on this podcast. And I remember one of them distinctly, and we got a little bit twisted inside of the leadership style. And I get it, because you guys are working with a lot of locations. You're bringing in probably a lot of hourly employees, as well as probably some managers. And I know not all of the employees you have, because you are franchising. But this one guy said, well, everyone wants to be told what to do. And I don't feel like that's the case. In fact, most of my clients are working with a set of employees that don't want to be told what to do. They want to be empowered. Do you take offense to either one of those, or which side do you lean on?
Yeah, I think that's 100% right. They don't want to be told what to do. Even from a technique standpoint of, even in my office here, we have 24 people here. I still don't tell people what to do. So from that standpoint, just a direct conversation, it's always asked, would you with me do this? I think that's really, really important, especially at a store level. But at the end of the day, I think employees, they want to be given the information, they want to be given guidance, and then they want to go do it. And so our goal is just provide, we use a lot of technology and things like that for training. We just provide them that information and encourage them along the way. And I find that that's a lot more successful.
Now, Brandon just talked about being told what to do, and he gave his perspective. I want to go a little bit further with this. I believe that your employees don't want to be told what to do. They want to feel a sense of empowerment. They want to feel a sense of agency, if you will. They want to feel like they have some control over how they do the work. Now, it may not be exactly the way you do it, and that's okay. maybe you'll learn something. Maybe they'll do it better than you would have. Because this has happened on my team many times before, where I've been able to let go of that sense of control and truly empowered my team in the right way. And I've seen it happen with my clients. And I share this story with you, hoping that you will embrace a sense of empowerment, because that's what powerful leadership is. Back to Brandon. Now, going back to your history, beer and basketball, and you learned from your coaches. Did you have to unlearn some approaches to leadership that come through the avenues of sports? Because I've worked in sports, in high school. I was a soccer player, and my coach told me exactly how to do this. I mean, I was the one. There was no real empowerment there. I mean, I'm on the field by myself, but did you have to unlearn some skills as a coach to be the leader you are?
Well, it's 20 years ago or 30, a long time ago. We're not going to get into that, that I played. Certainly, there was a lot more tough love back there than you can have nowadays. People are a little more sensitive. You just have to adapt to that. But fortunately for me, I had great leaders and coaches that identified each of us. There's 12 dudes, right? And I'm not really good at being yelled at. I get a little defensive. And my coach identified that. Some of the guys, you just got to light them up, right? You got to get after them to get the most out of them. So we take that. We have kind of our tagline, the best part of your day, the your being the most important piece. And so for me, it's all right. Susie needs a $1 raise and she will crush it. Joe needs to ask, someone needs to ask and make sure that we ask about how the weekend went and ask about the family. That's all he needs. And so I think that's very, very much connected with and very similar to sports in that way. It's just, you're just trying to get the most out of that person and identifying what's important to them. It works in both instances.
Now, this comes up quite a bit too in my coaching, helping people read others. Did you learn anything, over the years about how to read others, how to read when someone needs that extra pay or someone needs that extra praise or someone needs an extra kind of bit of connection? Where did you get that from?
That's time. Unfortunately, it's time and just having those experiences. I have not figured out, read this book and you'll identify when this person needs this. What we do is we try to have layers of, I'm trying to impress on my district managers and my operations support coaches here, which is a big part of Ziggi's, is having those support coaches. What we say is owner, franchise owner, manager of our stores. When you have a situation that comes up, share it with us. What happened? What did you say? What did they need? And what was the result? And then the most important piece of that is, let's follow through in a month and see if it was effective. Without that follow through, that's when they're really going to learn if it worked or not.
Brandon, we were talking about different types of leadership that really, have allowed you guys to grow as fast as you are. What have we not talked about?
Well, I think one of the reasons that we are growing and we're successful is I've got a bunch of people who've been here for a long, long time. And, we've hired people, a lot of them have been baristas, several of them been 16 years, 14 years, 13 years that worked at our first store and are now at the executive level with us. They really care about Ziggi's. They care about the company, and maybe they're missing some boxes, some maybe degrees or diplomas or things like that. But they love the brand and they really care about the result. And so whatever that is they're missing, we can go get a consultant. We can get someone to help us price out the menu boards. But having someone that really cares about the company, it's enabled us to really help them be great leaders and them to teach other people. And it comes through. You can hear it in their voice that they really care about what they're doing.
I'm kind of curious. What I've heard in that story was about you being able to develop the talent around you and get people to stay with you long term. And I think every business owner wants that to happen. Have you ever hired from the outside some experienced person and it didn't go well?
Not really.
Okay.
I would love to say, I would give you an example. We look at personality and fit first. I know people throw around the word culture, and it's a big buzzword. I know that. We just want to see who can we hang out at Friday cocktail hour, and who's going to be a lot of fun to be around. And they can be fun in their own, but they can be quirky, they can be quiet, but they need to contribute something to the overall excitement, fun, building of the team. If we can go there, then we look at their resume and say, okay, can this person execute the job? We don't look at the execution of the job first, ever.
I like this approach. You threw in their personality, which I get, but then you said fit, and I don't want to let that pass by. How are you assessing fit for your organization?
Yeah, fit for me is someone that we can connect with. Number one is we're a family here. There's only 24 of us here in the office, and fit would be, am I comfortable? Are you comfortable? the other thing that's the fit is, do you want to be a part of this growth? Do I really believe that you want to help these franchisees reach their dreams? Ziggy's reached 500,000 stores. Do I think that is as important to you as it is to me, or at least close? And that, to me, the rest of itself works its way out.
I want to switch directions here, Brandon. We've been talking about leadership and different styles, but I want to get an idea of maybe a mistake that you've made in your journey or your history that you learned from and that you see things differently now. Is there something that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think the number one thing, and I mentioned a little bit earlier, is we've done a really good job of coming up with a lot of great ideas. And even I feel like we've executed those the way that we saw them going. We like, there's our campaign, or here's the store we want to open. Where we're getting better every day is that follow through, to make sure that really making sure, what is the measurement? Is that employee really happy with this new process? Do they really want to wear name tags? And that was a big mistake. Those are the kind of things, like, let's follow through. Let's not just put it out there and it looks good from behind the desk. It's going out in the store and watching the Level Up mobile app and just eyes on how is that real interaction, not just looking at social media, what people are saying. So I think there's several years where we didn't do a good job of that follow through. And now it's a big part of our daily routine here.
Now, Brandon's just been talking about follow through. One thing that he didn't mention inside there is accountability. And I think a lot of people understand that accountability is a part of leadership and a part of how we get things done. And most people would agree that they don't want to have to follow up with people to say, did you get it done? Is it right? Is it on time? Is it on budget? They'd rather that to happen naturally. But here's the thing. A lot of people confuse holding people accountable with micromanagement. And I think that's a really dangerous thing, because you're not telling them what to do like you would be in micromanagement and overriding them in every sense around the corner. You are asking them, did you do what you said you were going to do? If that were the simple thing that you described accountability as, just checking in with people. Did you do what you said you would do? Did you do what you promised? Did you do it on time? Did you do it right? Accountability is a necessary part of leadership. You want to make sure you not only know that, but your team around you knows that accountability the right way empowers your people. It does not disempower them. Back to Brandon. When you're getting people to follow you, and I'm sure you've been through some tough times, I think before we even cut the recorder on, you're like, well, we have a plan to open these stores, and with supply chain changes and all of the things that we have to adapt to, how are you able to get your others around you to follow the lead of adaptation?
Yeah, there's this saying I have in the office right now, and it just of course, right? Of course it took longer. Of course it was harder. Of course the franchisee, is feeling the way they're feeling. Of course an employee didn't show up. I think if getting everyone to understand that is just what we do. If this were easy and there were no problems, then there'd be a million awesome coffee concepts out there. This is why we're here, and trying to get them. So, of course this happened. Okay, let's take this opportunity. Let's create a process. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. And, it doesn't always work, but it's been pretty effective in just, and immediately just bringing their level of anxiety down. Okay, of course it happened. Let's go get it and knock it out of the park.
Where'd you pick that up from?
I think I've said a few times in anger, not recognizing. I'm like, of course that freaking happened again, right? Are you kidding me? And maybe some 2 a.m., can't sleep, reflection, like, okay, hold on, maybe there's something here to work with, because this keeps happening. So we might as well own it.
What that really says to me is a mindset shift, right? And that's, you're taking this word, like, you can say the words thank you in a way that people can perceive your anger and angst, or you can say it with just incredible grace and kindness. But you switched the way you said it and the way you held that word or that phrase, of course. When you started to see that switch, did you start seeing notice with your people as pretty quickly?
Absolutely. I mean, perspective is everything for them. And at the end of the day, if I'm, I talk about our baristas in our store, like when the lines of cars start stacking, and if the manager starts throwing cups and yelling at people, guess what? Everybody else is going to start freaking out. So if I can remain calm, I'm not perfect, I have my moments, but if I can approach it that way, they're immediately going to switch their perspective and follow me.
This is We talked about leading by example in the beginning, and we've kind of come full circle here, because if you want people to be calm and serve your clients, if you demonstrate this anger, they're probably going to reflect the same thing in situations that you did not want them to. And if you are being able to show up calm consistently, you're showing others how to show up calm. I know some of this probably was not intentional, but now it's gotten to be something that's just more natural. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's no question. And I think it goes a little deeper than even that. For my team, say here in the office here, when there's a challenge and they are calm, they also know that if they can remain calm and they can chill and get through it and they come to me, that I'm going to have their back. If I need to go have a hard conversation, whether it's a franchisee or a vendor or a contractor, I'm going to make sure that I follow up and take care of them, so they don't feel like they just let it go or didn't complete the task.
Brandon, we've been talking about leadership styles that really have helped you grow your company. And I really appreciate you being here, sharing your wisdom and sharing your insights.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, what a great conversation. I love to be able to do this and tune into how others see the world and pull out of them what are their core leadership principles and what allows them to drive growth. Today was a great episode about leadership styles, where we are able to talk about tuning into how each person is different and how do you deliver an experience for that person that unlocks the most for the company and for that individual person. And when you think about your own journey as a leader, make sure you are continuing to evolve and push yourself to that next level. Never be complacent. Always be willing to change and accept that you have to evolve or die. When you think about leadership and you think about growth think Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.